Welcome back. Well, from Kaiser Permanente, we have Dr. Mova Hetty, who is here to talk to us about something that we all are concerned about, aging. Well, we hope you have some really good youth answers for this for us today.
I'll try my best.
Well, welcome. Thank you for being with us.
Thank you for having me.
So you've been with Kaiser Permanente for some time.
I've been with Kaiser Permanente for 19 years.
Okay.
Yes, I practice in the field of nephrology, which is kidney specialty.
All right.
And because a large number of my patients happen to be elderly, throughout my career I have clued into the aging well mechanisms, because as we age well, our organs age well.
Oh, good.
And it's all about our health and organ health, in my specialty, kidneys.
Okay.
So, and there are some general recipes that I think we can all follow.
Well, I love it. All right, perfect. So in evaluating our aging process, first of all, what is aging?
That's a great question. And there is probably not one definition of aging in the scientific community, but simply put, as when we are born, our body is in a constant state of flux, a constant state of changing. Our cells constantly are turning over, getting newer cells, and that whole process of breaking down and repairing is constantly going on in our body. Now, through time, as we age, that process is not as accurate or is not as robust. And the process of breaking down is probably a little bit faster. So that change in the breaking down and repair is probably internally what the cells see as the aging process.
Okay.
And it is something that is through time, that basically a process that changes through time.
Okay. So as we start to notice things changing, which we may not be very concerned about them in an early age, but maybe as you approach 40s and 50s, we start to really see changes.
Absolutely.
Is there a particular type of mental stability that we need to have when we see those changes?
Absolutely, and we'll be talking about that. I think the aging is not both physical, and there's definitely a mental component to that. There's definitely a spiritual component to that as well. And the whole issue of accepting and understanding and educating is definitely a part of aging well. And that's something that I hope that we can cover today.
All right, excellent. So when we talk about the speed of aging, everybody ages differently, because I would look at someone my same age and go, wow, there's not a wrinkle on their face. How does that happen?
Correct. So if you might have heard the terms antioxidants or anti-inflammatories. The processes internally that happens that we call aging are probably issues of oxidation or oxidative stress or inflammatory stress. And so for all of us, it's a little bit different. Now, in the field of medicine, we usually say we have a 40-40-20 rule. 40-40-20 rule.
Okay.
40% of what determines health and illness for us is our genetics. We're born with it. It's a card that we're dealt with. There's nothing else we can do about that. Another 40%, though, is our lifestyle. Is how we interact with the environment around us that determines our health or illness state. And 20% is modern medicine. So we all age differently because we all have different genetics, and we all have different way of behaving in terms of health. And well, thanks to modern medicine, that 20% has really taken us a long way, as we have seen at least in the past 100, 150 years in terms of the longevity that we have been able to achieve.
Now, you mentioned some recipes. So are your recipes to stop the aging process or reverse it?
Right. Well, the good news is that I think we have been able to somewhat reverse aging. Okay. Again, if you think about it, 100, 150 years ago, the median age for a human being on the planet was probably in the 40s. In the United States, we're now looking close to 80s. So in a sense, we have reversed aging, but in probably better way of putting it is that we have slowed down the aging process. And I think medicine has really helped. I think understanding the aging process has really helped us in doing that. and have a feeling, and all the data points to that point, towards that, is that as in the future generations, it will probably live longer. So we will continue to slow down that aging process.
Wow, yeah, and we have tons and tons of numbers over 65, and it's growing, rapidly, actually.
That's exactly the reason.
So it's good to understand as much
Right.
as you guys do now.
Right.
What are some new technologies that you're seeing coming down the pike to be able to understand aging?
So the science of aging is rapidly changing. So in terms of the nice, shiny, new things, I think probably nothing takes the front row seat there, like the field of regenerative medicine, so stem cell therapy.
Right.
It is very nascent, but I am hopeful that at least in my career life, I see that in action. There are areas that we are seeing regenerative medicine being applied with very good success.
Wonderful.
But the science moves very fast. So even though the technology is nascent, I have a good feeling that in the next decade or two, we will see some really good results and good ways of progressing forward.
Excellent, excellent. And then lastly, what are some keys to aging well?
Right, and that's what I wanted to really talk about today. I've actually provided a slide. I don't know if you're showing
it's right
that.
behind us, and we'll bring that up in just a second.
Yes, I've in my conversations with my patients, in trying to sort of make this stick, I've worked with an acronym that's called self-care.
Okay.
And self-care, every letter really stands for an aspect of living healthy.
Okay.
That is in there. So self-care starts with the letter S, which starts with sleep.
I knew you were going to say
that. Yeah, so that's probably, as we age, is one of the number one factors that determines our state of health, and specifically our brain health. Two major things happen when we sleep. Number one, our circadian rhythm is set, which basically determines our hormonal release, and hormones basically control our body. So that's number one reason why sleep is important. The second one is that the brain's system of trash pickup, if you will, is in the overwork when we sleep. So there are more waste removal from our brains when we sleep. So that's why sleeping is so important. If you had a bad night's sleep and you wake up in the morning kind of groggy, why do you think that is? It's because your brain hasn't really been flushed out well.
Right.
But the good night, deep sleep helps with that process.
Okay.
And in there, the advice is, sleep hygiene, putting down your book or turning off the TV before you go to bed. And do not drink coffee before you go to bed, that kind of stuff. And it's, the information is abundant out there, but sleep hygiene is number one, and S stands for that.
Right, and that's a long word, sleep care, and we only have our little 10 minutes to go through it. But if everyone can remember, sleep care. Sleep care. That way they can look on the website. I suppose we'll probably have that information under aging.
Yes, we do. We do.
Okay, perfect. Any last things?
Not on that. I think the only other thing that I would say is that also take an afternoon nap. It does wonders for your brain.
I like that idea.
So no more than 30 minutes, but an afternoon nap there's been a lot of studies, NASA's done studies on that. It really goes a long way in terms of the health. Excellent. Well, I'm ready to take my afternoon nap right now. Thank you so much for the information. I appreciate it. Absolutely. All right. So the second component of the care is basically in that slide, and that can be basically achieved by your members, and it's also on our website. Perfect. Thank you so much. Absolutely. All right. And remember, if you want any additional information, you can go to kp.org/Orange County. We'll be right back.